So ghosting is something that we think of in the context of a lot of modern things like Tinder, texting, social media, all that kind of stuff. But I'm curious, do you think it's really a modern thing? Is that where it comes from? Did people ghost when you were in high school?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, whether it was they didn't answer the phone or mom didn't answer the phone or they'd tell mom, no, I don't want to talk or whatever it was. Oh yeah, big time. I just think it's there because there's more communication tools now. I think
Mhm.
is it people believe it should happen less. But people are people, right? I mean, whether you're freaking send them a letter via Pony Express, you send your courier down the street to with a hand delivered envelope to invite them to something or whatever it is, people will ghost because I'll give you my theory of why I believe that is. They don't want to hurt somebody's feelings and just say no.
Mhm.
Because I mean, what do you do when you say when you got something you don't want to do, somebody invites you to do it, you come up with a reason not to do it instead of just saying, "Nah, I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's what we all do, right? Because I don't want to hurt your feelings. Oh, you invited me over for dinner? Ah, man, I really last time I was over there, oh, you know, I
Mhm.
don't want to experience that again or whatever, or so rather than that, it's the old I gotta wash my hair. The infamous girl turning you down for the date on Saturday night, right? Because that's the night she washes her hair, and the other 6 nights of the week, apparently. But she doesn't let you know that. But yes, that's
Yeah.
ghosting. Particularly in the dating world, been around for a long, long time.
Yeah, you said something that I thought was really interesting, talking about like the volume of communications nowadays and the ease of communication nowadays that we would expect it to not happen. Uh, and then, I think there's also this other side of it, which, was kind of my intro question of it seems to be more prolificated, whatever word, nowadays with the technology and whatnot. But, like most things, I would bet that the same people who are ghosting were the same people who ghosted 100 years ago and that type of thing. If you were somebody who would ignore a letter, burn it in the fireplace so that you could be like, oh, I never got the letter. Sorry, Dad. I didn't know you wanted me to come help you with something this weekend.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, that's the same people who are doing it nowadays via swiping the notification away or whatever that is. And it's just that there's more opportunities to do it. But I think you're totally right that it goes back to taking the easy option, dodging that short term pain. And I think the interesting thing that's fascinating to me as far as like the social mechanism of like why people ghost each other and flake on social situations and those kind of things is because they're taking what they think is the painless option of giving an excuse of or just not even responding and saying, oh, I not going to be able to go because they're trying to dodge that short-term pain. And the short-term pain that they're dodging is something that they feel because they're canceling on somebody. They're feeling that pain because of the assumption that the other person is feeling the pain of them saying no. I can't make it. I gotta wash my hair, like you said. But the funny thing is, the reality of it is, when you ghost, when you leave it open there, it's not. They're not feeling that pain because you said no. That's small pain because you said no. They're feeling this huge pain because now their brain is having fun playing the assumption game
Mm-hmm.
of why aren't they coming to my barbecue on Saturday? It's probably because they hate me. Gosh, is it this new haircut I got? Whatever you think it is, you can run down that assumption, play that assumption game for a while. And that's what happens when you ghost on somebody and when you cancel on somebody, those type of things. And so I think it's super ironic that it's this selfishness of dodging a pain that's built on an assumption that then if you dodge that pain, they're going to have so much more pain in the long run. And also you think about, repairing those relationships and those type of things, if that's something that you wind up doing, depending on what the situation is, then that's even more pain. It takes twice as long to build a bridge that you burnt, to take a Tyler Childers line, who he definitely stole from just some redneck in Virginia. But it's always going to be worse when you build it from this dishonest place.
Yeah. Well, what it makes me reminds me of is the sales world, right?
Mm-hmm.
The last thing you want when when you're selling something to somebody you think's a potential client is for them to continue to allow you to buy them lunch, to buy them cups of coffee, to take time and take time. It's like, man, and I've seen it and I've done it. I've been both ends of that. When you're selling something, you want to hear yes, and the next very, very near to that is you want to hear no. You don't want to hear in between. You don't want to hear, well, can we talk about it, again next week? Can we? Because, it's like, just tell me no. I would much rather you tell me no, thank you. This doesn't work for me. Or I don't want it, or nothing, just no. Okay, that's fine. I'd much rather that than continue to send you emails, carve time out of my schedule to call you. I'll give you a personal vignette sort of thing with clients. So one group of clients I have is soon to be veterans. These are active duty service members who are transitioning out, right? They're getting out of the military. They go to a nonprofit organization that I work with, the Commit Foundation, and they say, hey, I want help. Because a lot of times, because somebody says, hey, you really oughta, not because they thought it through and said, this is what I need to do. Somebody says, hey, you really oughta. And they go, okay, I probably should. And they sign up for it. And then they don't show up. They schedule time. And then they don't show up, because instead of just saying, hey, that guy on the other end has, he has a business. He's volunteering his time. I'd be willing to bet that if I don't want to do this, he could probably use that time to better his business, or maybe spend time with his wife or family or whatever. But they don't look at it that way. It's like, nah, I just won't show up. I don't need that. Don't need that time. So that's, ghosting in another style. I would much rather those guys just admit it and say, nah, I looked at this thing, man. It sounded like a great idea when Bob told me to. Now that I've spent a couple of hours looking at it, yeah, ain't for me. I don't need this, or not ready for it, or whatever it is. And just, hey, no, thank you. Don't waste my time.
Yeah, and the business setting, it's just like in the social setting of it, it's, do you want the no, or do you want to play that, like I put it earlier, like the assumption game? If somebody's like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, then you're going to stress yourself out dealing with all of these assumptions around why the person's not taking the action, when in reality that's not even the right fit for them. And I think the interesting thing there, not even to take that to another level, look at that, like no versus the assumptions, right? Which path do you choose? No is so short term. Like, that is such a short-term pain. If you cancel plans on me tonight, we're supposed to get on a video chat and have a whiskey or something, and you canceled. Okay, I'm going to go call someone else. I'm going to figure out something else to do. I'm going to go hang out with my wife. I'm going to go walk my dog. Whatever it is, I can go easily do that. But the other version is drawn out. It's, oh, okay, well, maybe they're going to call. Maybe they won't. Well, maybe I could adjust to this. I could do, but you have no idea. You have nothing to go off of. And I think that's the really interesting thing there, is that, as the ghosted in that situation, are, you want the band-aid, even though the no sounds painful. Like your sales example is really, really hitting home with me on this, because getting a no in a sales situation isn't the bad thing that people think it is. No. Because it gives you so many opportunities to, one, not waste your time with that person, but then
and
two,
waste their time too. There's the other piece about it. Hello, folks. It's your time too.
Oh yeah, and then taking that to the other thing, you ask the pretty girl out on a date and she says no because she's got to wash her hair on Saturday. Well, you're eating up your own time going through that kind of a process. If you are when you're eating up your own time there, it's like you're hurting yourself on it. You'd rather just have that no so you can keep moving forward from there. It's eating up their time and it's eating up your time. Think about it this way. If yeah, okay, you want to take going back to high school, you want to take the pretty girl out on a date, prettiest girl in school. Yeah, you want to take her out on a date. She doesn't want to be there. Do you want to be there? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Oh,
if
you're
you're not having
saying there's
fun,
a
why the hell?
chance.
But if there's a chance, why the hell would you go? Like, if there's just that small chance, there's all sorts of stories of. We had Ira Bowman on the podcast, and he was talking about, oh, my wife. I just kept pushing, and just, now we're married and we're so happy together. Yeah, that happens, but I think there's a difference there of that chance and how big that chance is.
Yeah.
And you should
Well, she had the
recognize
door
that.
open. She had the door open. I know.
Oh, yeah. Otherwise, they wouldn't be happily married for 15
That's
years,
right.
But it's like that recognition of, if they don't want to be there, if they don't want to be a part of this, that's a good thing. Going back to the sales perspective, if somebody doesn't want to buy the service that I'm selling, good. If you're not the right person for it and do buy it, then you're not going to like it. And then it's going to make me look bad as a business because you don't like the thing that I sold you, even though you never really wanted it in the first place. It's just like you talking about, you're transitioning soldiers, soon to be vets, scheduling their coaching with the Commit Foundation. If they didn't want it, then that's okay. They can go live their own life and you can go do other things. You can go help other people. But them canceling on that is going to wear you down and it's going to hurt your opportunities for other coaching. It makes me think of the rugby example we always talk about in American rugby of the coach who does every little thing and nobody helps out. And then it's like, as soon as that comes to a head, you break down and you don't want to do it anymore. But it's like, if people were just honest and communicated properly, then you can set yourself up for success with that.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's so much more to that. Man, I had something that was the other side of it. Now I can't come back with it. But going into that no sense, and it's okay to tell people no. It's okay to say no, thank you. Reminds me of the no thank you bite, right? I mean, it's like, okay, I tried it. No, thanks. Okay. I seen you in the hallway. No, thanks. It's that sort of thing. It's a decent human thing to do as opposed to the just ignoring the messages. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And just,
yeah. And the only reason that no's hurt is because we don't get them. If that makes sense. Like, I think it's the exposure of it. If people were just polite saying no thank you to everything you offered somebody, probably wouldn't hurt you too bad. But when you're getting ghosted all the time and you're playing the assumption game, like I said, and then you get a no, yeah, that probably hurts. I think that's a fair point. But it's recognizing that that's not a good thing, that you can still make that change, and that the communication is the better path on that.
Well, and I just thought of what I forgot. It's Think of it in this sense too, because when you are looking for something, when you're we'll just use advertising. When you're advertising for something, you're advertising to attract your client, but you're also advertising to repel your non-client. Think of it in that sense also. So if you see an ad, if you're on the Facebook and you see clickbait on the side and it doesn't appeal to you, do you still click it just to I don't know, find out more that maybe it might once you learn more, or do you ignore it? Well, there's a reason for that. And that's all we're talking about in that sense. In the grander sense is, what, if you don't want to go out with that guy, you don't want to go over to their house for dinner, then it's just like, hey, dude, no, not going to work this week. No, ain't going to do it. Can't do it. Tired, whatever. I just don't want to do it. I don't feel like it. I don't have to. I mean, truthfully, you want to give a reason, which is okay. But hey, I do that on LinkedIn all the time. All the sales pitches, and it's the really, really bad ones and the good ones.
Yeah.
That I just say, no, thanks. And LinkedIn and a lot of the DM messages, I don't know what their algorithm how their algorithm decides it, but a lot of them I just have to hit the button that says no thanks. I don't even have to type it. They obviously know that's not a good pitch. Otis ain't even going to. But you know what? Rather than leaving them hanging, I say no. And about probably about 50% of the people who send those out, even the ones, because they're automated. The ones that are automated, they still come back and say, thanks for the connection, or thanks for letting me
Mhm.
know. And then there's a handful, and well, why would you say no? I got this great thing, some sliced bread, da 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 da. I said no because I wanted to say no. I don't want to waste my time. I ain't wasting. I mean, flat out. I care about you. I care less about your time at this point.
Mhm.
After I tell you no, and you want to still try to convince me, yeah, that's the reverse ghosting, right? It's like, get off of me, man. Get off,
Yeah.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this video and this is hitting home with you, and we're not repelling you, and you are somebody who doesn't want to ghost us, you want to show up for your calls and all those type of things, then what I'd like for you to do is go to findyourpurpose.coach/free stuff, because we've got a whole plethora, there's a good word for you,
Woo.
of free resources that you can use to be proactive and to live your life with intention and to pursue your purpose. I think one of my favorite ones, and it kind of sets me up for what we're talking about here, it makes me think of the passion planner. And just when you want to connect with other people and you want to go do things, you're doing it because you're passionate. And so you have to understand your passions in order to plan more passion into your life. And if you got people flaking on you, whether it's a social or a business setting, then you should find ways to build more passion into your life. And you can do that at findyourpurpose.coach/free stuff.